shooting season, and in today's show, what you need to know about game reserves and rules to follow while enjoying the sport. Hi, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is Jamaica Magazine. We'll also be taking a ride down to Caymanas estate to find out about the recently installed sewage system. But just before that, we're going to make a quick stop at 3 miles to get some updates. You can't afford to miss out on anything from today's show. Do stay with us.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, August 22. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is calling on residents of Old Harbour Bay and surrounding areas to get certified so as to access jobs that will be available once the Jamaica Public Service completes its 190 megawatt power plant in the area.
This is an opportunity now to make that long-term investment in your own personal development. Get some skill, get training. Hard NTA is there with many great courses. Please utilize the opportunity.
Mr. Holness was speaking with journalists following a tour of the $330 million initiative dubbed Project Renaissance. 444 Jamaicans are currently employed on the project, 225 of which are residents of the Old Harbour Bay and adjoining communities. The project involves replacing 292 megawatts of power generating equipment with new efficient natural gas-fired generating capacity. Largely financed by local investors, the project, which is slated to be completed in June 2019, is 2 months ahead of schedule and within budget.
It sends a very good signal to the international community about the state of the Jamaican economy, to not just sustain the financing of such a large project, but to also have all the necessary support, infrastructure and facilities in place to ensure that such a large investment can go off seamlessly.
Over 100 current and prospective Spanish teachers are now better equipped to give instructions in the subject, having successfully completed a 4-day intensive training course. The August 18 to 21 program was organized by the Embassy of Spain, with facilitation coming from the Cervantes Institute and the Ministry of Education. Student teachers as well as teachers from primary, secondary, vocational and tertiary levels received training in Spanish language and methodology at the Shortwood Teachers College.
The Spanish language will undoubtedly bring increased prosperity to the future of young Jamaicans. Today's event is further evidence of the Government of Jamaica's readiness and preparedness to take meaningful action to make Jamaica a multilingual country as we seek to advance our global competitiveness, grow our economy, and create meaningful jobs for our people.
The greatest success is that the very positive results of this course will help to build a stable cooperation between the Ministry of Education and the Instituto.
Plans are currently in place to stage the training program biennially. Public sector workers whose children attend public schools will not be required to pay auxiliary fees as of this academic year, which begins in September. Permanent Secretary in the Education Ministry, Dean Roy Bernard, says beneficiary parents must first present proof of employment at public sector institutions in order to be exempted from paying the fees. Mr. Bernard made the disclosure during a recent parent sensitization session at the Merle Grove High School in Kingston. Other parent sensitization sessions are planned for August 23 in St. James, August 28 in Clarendon, and St. Anne on August 29. The National Works Agency, NWA, has begun a $40 million drainage improvement and road repair program in Trelawney. In addition to flood mitigation, the project is aimed at repairing roadways damaged by recent torrential rains. It's part of the NWA's $1.35 billion local rehabilitation and drainage improvement program. The Works Agency's Western Community Relations Officer, Janelle Ricketts, says the project, which started in June, is now far advanced. She says roads substantially completed are Granville, Bounty Hall, Salt Marsh, Wakefield, and Albertown roadways. Ms. Ricketts says roadworks are to begin shortly on the Jacksontown, Wilson Valley and Dry River roadways. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has given the team tasked with divesting solid waste management on the island 14 months to complete its work. The enterprise team, chaired by Littleton Shirley, was named in August 2016, with the Development Bank of Jamaica serving as managers of the divestment. Providing an update at a recent press briefing, Mr. Holness said transaction advisors from the World Bank have been engaged to ensure that the divestment meets international standards.
Yes, there's no denying the process is slow and frustratingly so, but I wish to assure Jamaicans that at the end of the process, you will have a very robust solution.
And finally, Jamaicans are being encouraged to conduct regular earthquake drills following yesterday's 7.3 magnitude quake in the Caribbean.
For us, what we need to understand is that the Caribbean on a whole, including Jamaica, is an earthquake region. And even though we don't get big earthquakes very often, we can still get them. And so, unlike hurricanes, we need to be prepared all year round because they can happen at any time.
The earthquake struck off the northern coast of Venezuela at 4:31 p.m. on Tuesday, leaving destruction in its wake. Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Barbados, St. Lucia, Dominica, and other countries in the region were also impacted. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
On our roads, remember, take time, be courteous, drive good, walk good. Don't drink alcohol and drive. Don't drive tired or sleepy. Don't tailgate and don't overtake unless it is safe to do so. And always drive at a speed which will allow you time to stop quickly and safely. Let's keep it safe on our roads.
As part of the government's 5 legacy projects, one of the country's busiest intersections is now experiencing first world development. Here's an update on the 3 Miles Road Improvement Project.
Three Miles is one of those ever-functioning nuclei of our island, connecting country to town, rural to urban, linking you to busy areas such as Spanish Town Road, downtown Kingston, Marcus Garvey Drive, and even the legendary Tough Gong Studio. It's one of the country's busiest intersections, and it's now experiencing first world development. The 3 Miles Road Improvement is one of 5 legacy projects being undertaken by the government under the Major Infrastructure Development Program MIDP. When the work is done, it will make life a lot easier for commuters. Like all of the legacy projects, the 3 Miles Road work is part of a broader plan to improve the traffic network across the island, and particularly this area, where a number of key roads meet.
70,000 vehicles are distributed through the intersection daily, and so you can imagine the solution we are designed for 3 Miles in particular is that we're going to be erecting 2 overpass bridges, one which will serve persons traveling from west to east and the persons who are also traveling from Halfway Tree to Portmore and downtown. It will take out about half of the vehicles that are distributed through 3 Miles. We're also taking the opportunity to improve water supply along these corridors. So we're not only reconstructing the roadway, we're also doing significant drainage improvement, sewer improvement, and water pipe improvement, which involves heavy excavation.
Rehabilitating 3.2 kilometers of roadway that is between 3 Miles and Halfway Tree. So far, we are approximately 20% of the works. That includes some bridge works. We're constructing 2 bridges, one across Spanish Town Road and the other from Marcus Garvey Drive to Agda Park Road. The 2 bridges, the lower bridge is the one across Spanish Town Road, and the higher one is the one from Agda Park to Marcus Garvey Drive. We are supposed to be constructing 97 piles. That is, the piles seat the bridge. That is the foundation of the bridge. So far we have completed 70 piles.
As the crews get the transformation going, the NWA has worked out a traffic management plan for eventualities, such as road closures and route diversions.
We are doing some traffic diversions from Marcus Garvey Drive coming along the toll road, and we're supposed to diverting the traffic from East Avenue to Spanish Town Road to Maxfield Avenue, and that will take you into Halfway Tree. Those works are far ahead. We're probably approximately 90% complete. As soon as we complete those works, we should be able to divert the traffic comfortably along those routes.
The project, which is being undertaken by China Harbor Engineering Company Czech, is valued at $56.5 million US. By the end of summer next year, motorists would have had 5 fully upgraded corridors that should reduce congestion and travel time.
3 miles will have 3 road levels, 3 tiers. We have the existing road level, 4 lanes, dual carriageway approaching the intersection. We'll have an overpass bridge, which will be shorter and lower along Spanish Town Road, about 7 meters above that. Then we'll have a second bridge, which will rise to a height of 15 meters, which will run along Hagley Park Road over onto Marcus Garvey Drive. If you're traveling along Spanish Town Road, approaching 3 miles from Spanish Town, if you know where Majestic Gardens is, that entrance right there, the bridge will begin to rise right about there, and it'll come down to grade level after you go over to Development Road after passing Tasty's Patties. Along Hagley Park Road, the bridge will start to rise where the Hagley Park Health Center is at Maho Drive, and it will get back down to grade level when you go over to Marcus Garvey Drive in the vicinity of Tough Gong Studios or Little Bell Road. So we'll have 3 grade levels. At the road level, all the straight through movements and the right turning movements will be controlled by traffic signals. So the traffic signals will remain. However, if you want to turn left, all left turns will be free, uninterrupted. So it will not be controlled by signals.
As with any road upgrading project, the initial stages are usually the ones that motorists and pedestrians fear the most, whether for the accumulation of dust, traffic buildup, or other unfavorable activities. As work continues in the 3 miles area, pedestrians are being asked to exercise some patience, as the benefits will accrue in the end.
So over this 1-year period, we're just appealing to motorists and to all our stakeholders to just work with us, bear with us as we develop the corporate area network to facilitate all of our activities.
But until then, remember to follow the simple road rules as you traverse the 3 miles area and any other road construction zones in the island. Remember that the prescribed speed limit in this area is 30 kilometers per hour. The development of the 3 miles road network is just another example of our government working to make Jamaica the place of choice.
Did you know that the EU has been doing a lot of work in Jamaica? The EU provided some 23 billion Jamaican dollars to help people living in sugar-dependent areas. This means new houses for sugar estate workers, rehabilitated roads, improved schools, health centers, vocational training, business grants, and a wide range of action to improve the lives of people in sugar-dependent areas.
Life sweeter for you with the EU.
From now until September 23, licensed firearm holders can participate in bird shooting season. But engaging in this sport requires much more than fun and games. There are some important rules to note. Get that information right after checking out the following feature on the importance of game reserves.
Here, birds are at rest. Wild animals make their home. the inquisitive eye gets its full share of rich colors, and at times, man and animal venture into a game of hide and seek.
A game reserve is a protected area of land where birds are with part of their habitat where they would nest and so on, and it's not legal to shoot in those areas.
A game reserve is an area that the birds do their nesting.
A game reserve is a place where the birds them live there.
It's where people hunt birds and things like that. I don't remember anymore.
A game reserve is a place that I can't go. You're not allowed to shoot there, you're not allowed to fish there, you're not allowed to do anything to destroy the environment there.
A game reserve is a parcel of land or body of water or an area comprising both land and water within which the hunting of birds or any other animals is strictly prohibited. It's also illegal to bring into these game reserves any weapons or dogs for hunting or even to take the nest of a bird.
In Jamaica, game reserves are monitored by the National Environment and Planning Agency.
Game reserves are like a refuge for game birds in particular, where they can escape all the hunting activities that are occurring on the island. They're also good roosting areas and breeding areas for these birds. In addition, some of these areas are also areas where a lot of endangered birds are, and we actually don't want any hunting activities in there in case there is accidental or illegal hunting of these birds. A lot of these game reserves do have many other species there. Another endangered species that's come to mind when we speak of wetlands, for example, is the endangered American crocodile. And we know a lot of people have some fear of the crocodile, and we just don't want that human-crocodile interactions because the crocodile always comes out on the losing end. So it's always good to ensure that these areas are no shooting areas, no hunting areas.
Forest reserves are also considered game reserves as well.
There are 19 game reserves across the island, and we are currently at the Amity Hall and Goat Island Game Reserves, and this one in particular is a little interesting in that it's the only game reserve that incorporates both land and a body of water. Over here is actually a part of the game reserve, and in the background there, that's the Great Goat Island, and so between the mainland here and the Great Goat Island, this body of water is also a no shooting area.
So other than this, where are the other game reserves located on the island? There is the Great Morass Game Reserve in Holland Bay, St. Thomas. In St. Catherine, the Portmore and Greater Portmore and Cabaretta Point Game Reserves. In Clarendon, the Long Island, West Harbour Peak Bay and Mason River Savannah Game Reserves. Bordering on Clarendon and Manchester is the Alligator Pond, Gut River and Canoe Valley Game Reserves. Also in Manchester is the Reigate Game Reserve. Over in St. Elizabeth, there is the Black River Upper and Lower Morass Game Reserves, as well as the Paratee, Great Morass and Stanmore Hill Game Reserves. Bordering on Westmoreland and Hanover in Negril, there is the Great Morass Game Reserve. In Montego Bay, St. James, there is the Bogue Lagoon Creek Game Reserve, while over in the west, in the parish of Trelawney, is the Glistening Waters Game Reserve. Portland is home to the Fairy Hill Port Antonio Game Reserve, while St. Anne, Jamaica's Garden Parish, has the Knapdale Game Reserves. There is also the Kingston and St. Andrew Game Reserves.
On our NEPA website, for example, you can actually find maps of all these game reserves, and it's important for persons to know exactly where they are, because sometimes people would create new tracks and there won't be a sign necessarily at that new track. So it's important to know exactly where you are.
You're not allowed to hunt there, and if I was to go in there with my weapon to hunt and you found me, I could go to jail, so I won't go in there.
No shooting zone, you can't shoot there. If NEPA catch you, you go to jail.
That's right. These hunters know the law well, which declares that any person found in a game reserve in possession of any animal, bird, bird's eggs, or nests will be presumed to be in violation of the Wildlife Protection Act. This can attract a maximum fine of $100,000, 12 months imprisonment, or both, if convicted by a resident magistrate.
So for each game reserve, there is actually a buffer around the game reserve of 50 meters. So persons are required to observe a 50-meter zone around each game reserve where no hunting is allowed or no trapping of birds or animals is allowed. We are along the edge of the Amity Hall and Goat Islands Game Reserve, and this is actually the boundary, one of the boundary lines, this canal right here. And so no hunting is allowed within 50 meters of this canal, and everything over here is actually a part of the game reserve where no hunting is allowed.
There are signs at the entrance to game reserves. Identifying one is an easy feat. For more information on game reserves, contact the National Environment and Planning Agency at 754-7540 or visit their website at nepa.gov.jm.
We know that a number of you have been gearing up for the game bird shooting season, and some of you might have already started since the whistle was blown on August 18. But just in case you haven't been properly informed on the sport, here are some guidelines outlined by the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA. First, the Wildlife Protection Order states that only the Zenaida dove, or P-dove, the white-winged dove, white-crowned pigeon, or bald-pate, and the mourning dove, or long-tailed P-dove, may be hunted during the season. It is illegal to hunt species that are not included in the order, and hunters who break that law can face prosecution. Hunting sessions are from sunrise to 9 a.m. and from 2:30 p.m. to sundown on Saturdays, and from sunrise to 9 a.m. on Sundays. The bag limit per shooting session is 20 birds, with the exclusion of the white-crowned pigeon, which has a limit of 15. Hunting within game reserves and forest reserves and within a 50-meter distance of the boundaries of game reserves is absolutely forbidden. During the hunting season, monitoring and enforcement is carried out by officers of NEPA, teams of game wardens, and the Jamaica Constabulary Force. The game bird shooting season ends on Sunday, September 23, 2018. Please follow the rules. It's part of what we need to do to ensure Mother Nature remains the beauty that she is. It's what we need to do to make Jamaica the place of choice.
Coffee was introduced to Jamaica in 1728. Creighton Estate was established around 1765. And the Blue Mountain Range and the central region of Jamaica, which is the Grand Ridge of Jamaica, with the major coffee producing regions. Currently, we are fully certified under the Rainforest Alliance, and we are the very first entity in the Caribbean region to attain that certification. Now, the Blue Mountain Range of Jamaica is a microclimate of the island and has provided the perfect conditions for growing the Arabica coffee. A typical day in the Blue Mountain, the most sunlight is in the mornings from about 11:32 to 4 p.m. You know, this is the weather that we experience. This is a norm in the Blue Mountain. It's nothing unusual, you know, for the range to be covered with mist. And after sunset, the temperature basically goes below 20 degrees Celsius. So those are the perfect ingredients to develop high quality coffee. You know, the culture here is rich. We're an extremely creative, you know, set of people. In Jamaica, there's everything. If you're a nature lover, we have it. If you like the wetlands, we have it. You know, great coffee, you know, great food. You know, God has been good to us. You know, the God has been good to us. The universe has been good to us, you know, as a country. You know, and, this rock, I love it, man. I love it.
The Urban Development Corporation, UDC, has embarked on the Caymanas Estate Sewage Conveyance System. Learn more next.
The Urban Development Corporation, in association with the Jamaica Information Service, presents Urban Scope. Caymanas Estate area has been a development area for the Urban Development Corporation UDC since 1986. The property spans the parishes of St. Andrew and St. Catherine, with at least 90% of its lands in St. Catherine. Measuring approximately 10,703 acres, the lands have functioned as a green belt to the thriving centers of Kingston and St. Andrew to the east, Portmore to the south, and Spanish Town to the west. Popular places in the area include the world-famous Caymanas Golf and Country Club. The Caymanas Estate area has seen changes over the years as the UDC continues to facilitate its development with the build-out of major infrastructure. Investments have included housing and road network connecting the north-south leg of Highway 2000. And more recently, the Urban Development Corporation has completed construction of the Caymanas Estate Conveyance Sewage System. This infrastructure has increased the opportunity for further development of the prime real estate property.
As you know, sewage disposal is one of the primary infrastructure needs for investment prospects, and this is now in place, so it's more attractive to developers as they come in, as UDC roll out its development plan for the area.
The conveyance sewage system forms part of the Caymanas Estate Development Plan, which outlines a broad built-out model for lands owned by the UDC and private interests. The development plan includes a mixed use of recreational, residential, and commercial buildings developed in harmony with the environment. The $624 million project was funded by the UDC from sale of assets. The scope of the project covers 7.4 kilometers of forced main pipeline and 2 lift stations. It also stretches across the Mandela Highway and connects to the Soapberry wastewater treatment plant. Each lift station has an entrapment cage that intercepts debris in the line. These cages are then lifted and emptied to allow for smooth flow of the sewage. The plant is also outfitted with state-of-the-art technology systems and can accommodate a flow of over 200,000 gallons of sewage per day.
This transfer system is designed to address the entire development needs at full build-out.
And so, to ensure smooth operations of the facility, testing was conducted on all pipelines by the chief engineer and his team.
It's a milestone for us because the plant is now ready to achieve what it was designed for. We achieved practical completion in November, and we have commissioned the plant in December. We are at the stage now where we are about to turn on the system to transfer sewage from the development to the treatment plant in Soapberry.
The engineers and technical persons worked long and hard to accomplish this goal, but not without a few challenges.
The challenges are primarily engineering. With respect to the water table, all the installation of the pipeline has been below the water table, so that was challenging in terms of the excavation and pipe installation.
With the sewage foundation now in place, individual development in the Caymanas area will be able to expand and grow in accordance with the requisite permissions guided by the UDC's master plan for the area. The Urban Development Corporation, making development happen for you. To learn more about the work of the Urban Development Corporation, call 656-8031 or visit their website at udcja.com. You may also follow them on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, or visit their information center on the ground floor, Kingston Mall, downtown Kingston. Urban Scope was brought to you by the Urban Development Corporation in association with the Jamaica Information Service.
And this is where we'll have to leave you for today's show. But do join us again tomorrow for what promises to be another informative edition. If you missed anything at all, watch it again on our website or on our YouTube page. And don't forget to keep up with us via our Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter pages. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Theodore Henry. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.